Hello, my name is Szymon Gostyński. I'm a Polish and a US licensed attorney. I practice every day in Kraków, Poland. I'm a managing partner of Gostyński and Partners law firm. Today's topic, the formation and registration of a Polish limited liability company. Probably if you're a foreigner thinking about conducting business in Poland, this will be your preferred choice of legal form under which you perform your operations here. Where do I start, or where do you start? You should start with the execution of the Articles of Association of your future company. This is your company charter, in a sense, foundation stone of your future company. In the Articles of Association, you determine many things. Among others, the name of your company, you determine the registered seat of your company, you determine the share capital of your company. You also determine how the share capital is divided, which shareholders are there in the company, and how the share capital is divided among them. I should probably remind you here that the share capital in Poland, the minimal share capital for a limited liability company is 5,000 zlotys, that is roughly $1,300 US or 1,100 euros. You will also determine how the company is run, that is, how many directors that your company is going to have. It has to be at least one and needs to be a physical person. In Poland, we're not allowed to have directors who are non-physical persons, like in some other countries where you can have another company sitting on board of a company. That's not allowed here. You will also determine whether the directors, if there are more than one, are supposed to represent the company independently from each other or whether they should act jointly. Of course, there are other things which you should put and determine in the Articles of Association, but this is really the basic things which you need to think about while executing the Articles of Association. There are two basic ways in which you can execute the Articles of Association. First of all, you can do it electronically. There's a special internet website, it's called Portal S24, where you can, via means of electronic signature, execute the Articles of Association via your computer at home. The other form in which you can execute the Articles of Association is a little bit old school, the traditional way of doing it, by going to a Notary Public and executing the Articles of Association in form of a notarial deed. There are two major advantages of registering your LLC via the Portal S24 system. The first advantage is the time advantage. You will have a registered LLC within probably 2 to 5 working days from the time you've executed the Articles of Association electronically. The second advantage is the cost advantage. Since you don't need to go to the Notary Public, you will not have any notarial fees associated with the registration of the LLC. There are, however, two drawbacks which I should mention. First problem is a technical problem. It's a technical problem for most of our foreign clients. In order to be able to sign the Articles of Association electronically, each of the shareholders need to possess a so-called qualified electronic signature or what's called in Polish an ePUAP platform signature. Most of our foreign clients are not able to organize these signatures in a quick amount of time. So usually this technical obstacle is usually a problem for most of our clients, which renders the electronic options as no option for them. The second major disadvantage of registering your company electronically is the fact that the Articles of Association which you are able to execute are based on a draft contract. It's essentially a boilerplate which you can only modify in a certain way. You're not really able to tailor the Articles of Association to your exact needs. You can only take the pre-existing boilerplate Articles of Association uploaded in the system, and then you can modify only certain paragraphs of these Articles of Association. The traditional method of registering or executing the articles of association of a LLC is by going to a notary public and executing these articles in form of a notarial deed. Because of the technical problems associated with the electronic registration, for many of our foreign clients, actually this is the only option of registering the company. What are the advantages of doing it this way? Well, first of all, you can really modify the articles of association to your exact needs. You don't need to use a predefined articles of association boilerplate text. So it's very flexible in terms of, you're flexible in terms of creating the articles of association. You can do it yourself. However, if you don't speak Polish, you need to be accompanied by a certified translator. There are drawbacks, of course, of doing it this way. Well, first is the time problem. If you register the company electronically, it will probably be registered within 2 to 5 working days. If you do it in front of a Notary Public, you will need to send a separate motion to the court, and the company will be registered probably within 2 to 3 weeks. Then there is the cost factor. Since you need to go to a Notary Public, you will need to pay the notarial fee associated with the execution of a notarial deed in front of a Notary Public. When you've executed your articles of association, the company needs to undergo a registration process in the National Court Register. In Poland, it's abbreviated as KRS. If you executed your articles of association electronically, you don't need to do anything. Your company will be registered within a few working days. If you, however, went to a Notary Public and signed the articles of association before him, you will need to file a separate motion with the registry court. Once the company will be registered, it's going to be issued 3 important numbers. First of all, there will be a registration number from the National Court Register, a so-called KRS number. Then the company will also receive, at the moment of the registration, a statistical number. It's called in Polish a REGON number. Then, thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, the company will be issued a tax number by the tax office. This is called in Polish a NIP number. Once the company is registered in the National Court Register, it is a full-blown LLC with all bells and whistles. You will be able to open a bank account. You will be able to issue invoices. There is, however, one reservation about that. If you want to issue VAT invoices or conduct VAT tax deductions, you will need to undergo a separate registration process for VAT purposes with the Polish tax office. Before you issue your first VAT invoice, you should undergo a separate registration process with the tax office for VAT tax purposes. Because of many irregularities in the past with VAT refund of newly formed companies, actually today it's not an entirely straightforward process. If you form a new LLC and you try to register it for VAT purposes, it is likely that the tax office will want to send an inspector to your company in order to have an on-site visit. This on-site visit is aimed at checking whether the company actually operates under the address under which it is registered, whether there is office. Often the inspector wants to talk to the managers of the company to see if this is a genuine registered company with a legitimate intent to carry out business operation. Because of the fact that your VAT registration motion may trigger this inspection, you need to plan ahead and know that this might be the VAT registration process might be a process which will actually take a few weeks. We should mention what costs are involved in forming of an LLC. Well, first of all, there are the registration costs with the registration court. They're divided into 2 parts, but essentially they sum up to 350 zlotys. That's roughly 90 US dollars, a little bit less than 80 euros. Then there is a PCC tax. It's a tax on so-called execution of civil contracts. It's 2% and it's calculated based on the amount of the share capital that the company has. So the higher the share capital, the higher tax you will pay at the moment of formation of the company. And there, depending on whether you register your company electronically via portal S22 or you went to the notary, if you went to the notary, you need to add the notarial costs to your formation costs. They are also dependent on the amount of the share capital. The minimal amount you will pay at the notary is 160 zlotys. However, this does not include the copies of the notarial deed. So you should probably calculate in the region between 400 to 800 zlotys at the end in terms of notarial costs. So here you have it. This was a quick overview on the formation and registration process in regard to a limited liability company in Poland. 8, if not 9, out of 10 of our foreign clients choose to form an LLC in order to conduct their business operations in Poland. Regardless, however, of whether you want to form an LLC or you have other legal needs in Poland, our law firm is there to help you. We can help you with your legal problems. We can render you tax advice. We can also help you with the accounting and bookkeeping side of your operations. Thank you.